Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the place you come to when you want us to unpack complex topics, pull out the key insights from your sources.
And today, we have quite a story. It's really personal, actually.
It is. We're digging into a set of documents, editor's notes, an interview, narrative bits that trace this incredible family saga. Spans continents, generations.
Really compelling stuff.
Our goal today, we want to explore memory, truth, identity.
Yeah.
All through the experiences of a woman named Pari Wadati.
And her mother, Naila, she was an Afghan poet, quite an enigmatic figure.
Right. We'll be looking at how the past, even the hidden parts, shapes who we are now.
Yeah.
You'll definitely find some aha moments in here.
I think so, too.
Okay, let's set the scene. We start in Paris. It's 1974. There's this urgent phone call. Picture it. 6:15 p.m. You're already late for dinner plans. The elevator dings open on your floor.
And the phone inside your apartment starts ringing.
Exactly. And you just know. Deep down, you know exactly who it is.
Yeah, that immediate, intuitive dread Perry feels. It's palpable right from the start.
It's not just a phone call, is it?
No, not at all. It's a pattern. A recurring crisis, as the text says, too many to count since she was a teenager.
So it immediately sets up this relationship, this dynamic, steeped in drama, obligation maybe.
Absolutely. Obligation, expectation, maybe even resentment. It's all there in that first moment.
Okay, so let's dive into that 1974 moment more. Perry and her partner Julian, they're rushing out.
Right, late for dinner.
And Julian's clearly irritated by the phone. He even calls their neighbor La Chèvre, the goat, because she's impatient.
He just wants to ignore it, tells Perry, let it ring.
But she can't. She feels this compulsion to answer it. What's that tell us about them right there?
Well, Julian's attitude is interesting. His dismissal, and apparently he'd said earlier something about economics.
Yeah, like if she cut off the supply of attention, perhaps the demands for it would cease.
Right. Treating her mother's needs like supply and demand. It shows his perspective, maybe a bit detached. He seems to see Naila, the mother, as manipulative.
Definitely a different view than Perry's feeling of obligation.
A huge difference. He sees manipulation, she feels trapped, maybe.
So she answers. It's a Dr. Delaunay. Her mother, Naila, has had an accident.
A cut on her forehead, needs stitches. Not life-threatening, but...
But she shouldn't go home alone.
Exactly. And you can just feel Perry's internal conflict. She doesn't want Julian annoyed, doesn't want her mother showing up at their place in Courbevoie.
She even lights a cigarette, like a small rebellion. Or just needing a moment.
Could be both. A moment of defiance, or maybe just bracing herself for what's next.
And then Julian comes back in, sees she's decided to go.
And he says, you're not coming, are you?
Just like that. And then he leaves. Goes to dinner without her.
Ooh, that's cold. Perry apparently perceives it as vicious, deliberate, slashing.
Yeah, it really tells you a lot about the emotional space she's living in, doesn't it? Caught between her mother's needs and her partner's, well, lack of support.
It's a really tough spot, and it perfectly sets the stage for understanding Naila.
Right. This call basically throws us into Naila Wadati's world. We get this incredible interview she gave just months before she died, published in Parallaxe '84.
And this is where it gets fascinating. We meet Naila in her own space, a sparsely decorated apartment in Courbevoie.
Smoking, sipping Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Telling her story.
And what a story. She presents herself as quite striking, even at 44. High royal cheekbones, good skin, slim waist.
Intelligent, flirtatious eyes.
Yeah. And her background, half Afghan, half French, born in Kabul. Her French mother met her Afghan father at the royal palace back in 1927.
And her grandfather, her mother's father, was actually an advisor to King Amanullah.
A figure Naila really seems to look up to. She calls him the best king they ever had.
She talks about his reforms banning the veil, polygamy, forced marriage, child marriage, mandating school for everyone, really progressive stuff for the time.
Visionary, yeah. But then, as Naila tells it, it all came crashing down, this tsunami of bearded rebellion.
Jihad, declared by mullahs and tribal chiefs, the king forced into exile. A tragic end to that progressive era.
And notice her language, she says, they, when talking about Afghanistan. The best king they ever had.
That's a really good point, even though she's half Afghan.
It signals this distance, right? An emotional divorce, almost. She felt the country betrayed its potential, and she says it did not suit her well.
She even claimed she moved to France in 1955, specifically for Perry, to save her daughter from a life of quiet servitude.
Where desires were doused and dreams renounced. That's her justification anyway, her narrative of why she left.
But her view of motherhood itself is... well, it's...
Understated.
understatement. She says things like, Children are never everything you'd hoped for.
And then, incredibly, she calls Perry, her own daughter, her punishment.
Wow. That's harsh.
And she dismisses Perry's choice to study math at the Sorbonne, calls it rebellious, but then sneers, "Who rebels with mathematics?"
It really makes you wonder, what kind of freedom did Nyla actually want for Perry if Perry's own choice wasn't acceptable?
Exactly. It seems like Nyla wanted Pari to live out, maybe Nyla's own version of freedom. It certainly seems tangled up in her own projections and maybe disappointments. And she doesn't hold back on Julian either.
Oh, yeah. Calls him a raging narcissist, of course. Ego the size of Poland.
Which is such a stark contrast to how Perry initially seems to see him, or at least clings to him. Nyla's got sharp eyes and a sharper tongue.
No kidding. She then talks about her own childhood. Her father, the aristocrat with cold hands.
The one who called her my fawn, which she later realizes is sinister because he loved hunting deer.
Chilling. She describes their relationship as really strained, her bold and adventurous spirit against his ascetic and emotionally austere nature.
And he punished her for it. Locked her up, used his belt, even his fist, accused her of humiliating him.
Just for being herself, essentially.
And her first poems came out of that, written while she was locked up.
Yeah, but she dismisses them now, calls them melodramatic, histrionic.
But the interviewer points out they're actually stunning, moving, groundbreaking, especially how they broke from traditional Farsi poetry.
So there's this huge gap between how she sees her own work, her early work anyway, and its actual impact.
Yeah, that's self-perception versus reality. It's a recurring theme with Nyla, isn't it? Maybe linked to that early trauma.
Could be. And her philosophy on writing is dark.
The thievish undertaking.
Yeah. Writers vandalizing the lives of other people, stealing dreams and flaws. She says she wrote out of compulsion, not pride.
Which is maybe understandable given her father's reaction.
Absolutely brutal. He called her poems the ramblings of a whore. Said she was damaging the family name.
And her response, "I had no desire to slip the leash around my own neck."
That really sums up her whole life, doesn't it? That fight for autonomy.
It really does. It defines her entire narrative, her choices, everything.
And then we get this other piece of her past. She gets sick at 19, goes to Delhi for treatment.
Feeling lost, vulnerable.
And in that stage, she agrees to marry Sloan Wadati, Barry's father.
A man she found decent, but much too serious, aloof, and uninteresting.
Not exactly a ringing endorsement. But then comes the real bombshell.
Yes.
The chauffeur.
She just states it, matter-of-factly. Her husband, Suleiman, he was in love with the chauffeur, Nabi.
Boom. Just drops it in there. It's incredible. And it connects so many dots later on. Typical Nyla shocking honesty, or maybe curated honesty.
Art to tell sometimes, but it definitely adds another layer of complexity to Perry's origins.
A huge layer. It raises immediate questions about, well, everything Perry thought she knew.
So Nyla's interview lays out all these secrets, contradictions. How does this land with Perry? How does she process all this, plus her own life experiences?
Well, Perry's own journey starts much earlier. We see hints of her own complexities way back in her teens.
Meeting Julian at the hospital when she's just 14.
Right. And Maman Nyla is immediately drawn to Julianne. Perry sees her mother's charm, her beauty, and feels inadequate. Like her own looks are woven of common cloth.
And Nyla's so-called compliments just reinforce that insecurity.
Yeah, that's a tough dynamic for a young girl. Sets the stage for a lot of her later issues with self-worth, maybe. And then Julian's small act of betrayal at that first dinner.
Confiding in Perry about his ex-wife, the one who wanted to own me.
Yeah. It creates this secret thrill for Pari, this little bond between them that excludes her mother.
It's subtle manipulation, maybe, playing them off each other, or just drawing Perry in.
Hard to say for sure, but it works. And then later, Maman has that 6-month affair with Julian.
Which Perry finds unbearable.
To the point where she lies naked on her mother's bed where they'd been together. What is that about?
Wow. Maybe trying to understand. Or reclaim something. Or just pure confusion and pain. It's such a visceral image.
And her friend Colette just nails it, doesn't she? Saying that he's with her to get to you, that it's you he wants.
Yeah, Colette sees right through it. The unspoken psychological game being played.
So years pass. It's 1973. Perry runs into Julian again at a student protest.
And she feels like she's dying to be rescued. He compliments her, sees her differently now.
They talk about her studying math, which Nyla hated, called frivolous.
And Julian asks that really pointed question about math providing certainty. Nothing like life, in other words.
Ooh, yeah. He gets it, or seems to. Is she using math to escape the messiness of her life?
It really seems like it, doesn't it? Seeking order and logic because her family life is just chaos and secrets.
So she moves in with him.
Hmm?
And that phone call with Mama,
Where Nyla says, "You're a stranger to me."
just devastating. It deepens that rift, that lack of understanding between them. Pushes Pari further away.
Okay, so let's jump ahead again. 1975. Nyla's dead now.
And the magazine with that interview arrives, sent by Julian.
With a warning. Read this at your own peril. Neither of us fares very well, I'm afraid.
He's not wrong. Pari reads it, and parts of it feel like a parody, a lurid melodrama.
She starts questioning everything. Nyla's portrayal of her own father, the relationship between Pari's father and Nabi, and Nyla's motives. Why reveal all this?
She even suspects it might be Mama's retribution, a way to destabilize Pari, to shift the ground beneath Pari's feet even after death.
That shows how deeply Pari understands her mother's capacity for, well, for manipulation. She's applying critical thinking to her own mother's story, trying to separate fact from fiction, or maybe self-serving fiction.
It's a huge burden. But then she finds some stability.
With Eric Lacombe. Meets him through Colette.
He's not flashy like Julian, described as having a kinder face. He offers attentiveness, quiet forbearance, and enduring decency.
Sounds like exactly what she needed.
And he gets her. He understands her unspoken questions. He's the one who actually says it out loud.
You think you were adopted?
Yes. And that external validation is huge for Pari. It's like permission to acknowledge this feeling she's always had.
That feeling of absence, of displacement, is an aha moment, but one prompted by someone else finally seeing it too.
And then her daughter, Isabel, is born. That anchors her even more.
She feels weightless, like there's a shining around herself. Motherhood plus Eric's steady presence.
It kind of dulls that urge to keep searching for answers about her past. For a while, anyway. Gives her some peace.
But life has a way of circling back, doesn't it?
It does. There's a moment in 1981. Isabel has a health scare. Eric calls from Paris, mentions childhood leukemia.
Terrifying for any parent.
And in that terror, Pari suddenly remembers her own childhood hospital stay. And she feels this new, unexpected, belated kinship with her mother.
Realizing that shared vulnerability. Understanding Nyla as a worried parent, not just the dramatic poet.
Exactly. A flicker of empathy across that divide.
So Pari builds a life, becomes a university professor, raises 3 kids, Isabel, Elaine, and Thierry.
Seems pretty stable, navigating academic politics with a sensible demeanor.
But Thierry becomes her lifelong worry. He's described as unexpected, unintended, uninvited, with this torrent of rage.
And here's the fascinating part. Pari instinctively feels that Nyla, her mother, would have understood Thierry.
Wow. That is insightful. Even after everything, the secrets, the hurt, the manipulation, there's still this belief, maybe subconscious, that Nyla understood difficult emotions, complex realities.
Like she recognized Nyla's own capacity for rage, perhaps. A strange kind of connection persists.
It really suggests that relationship is never fully resolved, even years later.
Life throws more curves. Pari develops rheumatoid arthritis, deals with aging, vanity.
And then Eric dies. She's 48, a widow, just like her mother was around that age.
So the parallels continue. Decades go by. Life settles into a different rhythm.
Until 2010, everything changes again.
Right. Pari's 61 now, retired because of the arthritis. Her hands are ugly, twisted. She's ashamed of them.
And she gets a message. Through Facebook, of all things.
From a Dr. Marcos Varvaris, a plastic surgeon in Kabul.
And he's living in, wait for it, Pari's childhood home in Kabul.
The very one.
Yeah.
And the landlord, Nabi, the former cook and chauffeur Nyla mentioned.
The one supposedly in love with Pari's father.
That Nabi, he recently died. And he left a letter for Pari.
Oh my goodness. After all these years, this has to be it, the key.
You'd think she'd be desperate to hear it, but her first reaction is hesitation.
Really? She wants to hang up.
Part of her does. Her life with Eric, her kids, it feels true and sturdy. She thinks, what is the use? She's afraid of the disruption.
Understandable, maybe. Protecting the life she built, but...
But that deep curiosity, that need to know, it wins out. She asks Marcos to read the letter to her.
And the core revelation, it's seismic.
Nabi claims he's her step-uncle.
Okay, step-uncle.
But the real shocker is why. He reveals that Pari's father, Suleiman Wadadi, was actually her biological uncle.
Right, what?
Meaning, Pari wasn't Nyla's daughter at all. She was the child of Suleiman's brother and his wife, Nabi's sister. Nyla and Suleiman adopted her after her birth parents died.
Oh, my God. So Eric was right, that feeling of absence.
It all clicks into place. Nubby's letter just shatters everything Pari thought was true about her identity.
The impact must have been unbelievable.
The description is intense. Her hands shake. Her mind feels like an axe striking soil and suddenly rich black oil bubbling up.
Wow, like repressed memories flooding back.
Exactly. Suddenly, fragments become clear. A red wagon, fruit trees, a big dog, a man with a hawk nose, a veiled woman.
Her real parents.
Presumably.
Yeah.
And the shadow of her father, her adoptive father, Suleiman, becomes clearer too. His hand, his knees, bits of sensory memory.
Memories obscured by Nyla's silence. Her narrative finally breaking through.
And she whispers the word brother, thinking of her biological brother Abdullah, whom Nyla never mentioned.
And that Farsi song comes back to her. I know a sad little fairy who was blown away by the wind one night.
Pei means fairy in Farsi.
Oh.
She finally understands the missing piece, the absence she carried her whole life. She was that little fairy, taken from her original home.
It's just an incredible resolution. Painful but clarifying. The ultimate validation of everything she felt but couldn't name.
It really is her whole journey. It's such a testament to that deep human need to know where we come from.
Right.
Even if the truth turns your world upside down.
Absolutely. She starts as this daughter, haunted by Nyla's drama and secrets.
And ends up finally connecting with her true self decades later.
And isn't it fascinating? She spent so long seeking certainty in mathematics.
Yeah.
But the real answers, the real resolution, came from this deeply emotional, personal revelation. Not logic, but story. Uncovered story.
That's a great point. It shows our life narratives aren't fixed. They can be rewritten, understood differently, maybe even healed.
If we uncover those hidden truths.
So thinking about this for you, our listener, Perry's story really makes you think about your own family stories, doesn't it?
For sure. The things may be left unsaid. The questions you haven't asked.
What truths might be waiting in your life? Maybe not in some dramatic letter, but
In a quiet moment. A detail you overlooked. A conversation you've been putting off.
it's something to consider. What hidden parts of your own story might be waiting?
Yeah.
As for Perry, the story ends with her waiting for coffee. She's planning to call Colette
And arrange a trip.
to Kabul. She closes her eyes and sees it hills, blue sky, hazy mountains.
A new beginning. Based on a truth she finally unearthed.
A hard-won truth.